everybody. Good morning. Excuse me. Geez, my voice is starting off a little funny today. Good morning. How are you? Hope that all of you are doing well. It is a beautiful day out where I live. I hope that it's a beautiful day for you too. I know that I have followers from all over the world, so really excited to see everybody join in and spend some time together, all in the spirit of data science. So really glad to have you here. Really happy that you're able to join us. How's your week going? We just started, right? It's another Monday. I know that some of you are in school, some of you are workers, some of you are maybe even not even quite in university. Maybe you're younger than that, and that's okay. But really glad that we are here and able to spend some time together. So I'm already seeing some people in the chat, which is fantastic. I know that I'm getting a lot of new followers. I'm growing at a very, very fast pace. I'm averaging about 1,000 new followers on YouTube every single day right now. So it's really incredible. What I like to do is I like to start off with my global roll call. And that is where I ask you to introduce yourself with your city, state, province, country. Just let us know where you're from. It's a nice, easy way for everybody to participate. You know, this way everybody can feel included in the chat. You don't have to be some amazing data scientist to participate in my chat. That's okay. I understand everybody's in their own part of the data science journey. So just say hello. Just let us know where you're from. You know, that way we can also build a global community. And then I also like to start off with an opening note to kind of, you know, just give everybody something to think about to start us off during this this journey together. And then after that, I'm happy to take your questions. I know that people have all kinds of questions on education, on projects, on whatever, right? So you are welcome to go ahead and ask questions also. So please start filling up my chat. Let me know where you're from, city, state, province, country, and we'll just go from there, right? We'll just see how things end up. And also, guys, you can't just tell me your country. You got to tell me your city and your province. Come on. When you just say you're from a country, that's disrespectful to your own country. Every country is beautiful and diverse. You gotta be more specific, right? You can't just say a country. Come on, guys. All right. So as I say, I also like to start off with an opening note to give us all something to think about. And I wanted to share an experience from this past weekend. This past Saturday, I actually heard from an old friend, kind of a little bit out of the blue, an old friend of mine who is he's a managing director at one of the, you know, at a very, very big financial firm here in the U.S. You know, I think maybe one of the top 5 financial firms in the U.S. He leads a data science team, a pretty sizable data science team. I know some of the people who work for him. You know, I'm acquaintances with some of his people. So I know that he has a very talented data science team, and I also have a lot of respect for him because he's also a very data-oriented executive. You know, he knows what's going on when it comes to data. And you can't say that for every executive out there, right? So I say that as a very high compliment because not every executive gets data, guys. Okay. So he's a managing director, and he reached out. You know, we caught up a little bit, and then we made plans to talk later in this week. And I sent him my email because he's going to send me a calendar invite so that we can, you know, book the time on our calendars and you know, we can talk, you know, and it seems a little formal, but it's just, you know, for him to send me a calendar invite, but it's really just like a friendly conversation. You know, he's a good friend. He's a good guy. I really enjoy talking to him. I like to think he likes talking to me too. So, you know, it was just really fun. And I'm really looking forward to that. But what it really reminded me of, guys, was being able to give you guys some advice on dealing with managing directors. Because working with managing directors is kind of a different ballgame. You know, somebody who's a managing director is somebody who has been a professional. They've had a very long professional career overall. They've been an executive, you know, a leader for a very large part of that career. And they're usually dedicated to a very particular company. You don't get to be a managing director unless you've been at a company a while, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. It's very rare to bring a managing director in from the outside. It's usually somebody who's come up through the company, right? And they also tend to live very scheduled lives, right? All managing directors have at least one, sometimes multiple assistants, right? They've probably had an assistant for a long time because they were probably also high-performing directors that are sometimes given assistants. A little more rare, but it happens, right? So they tend to live very scheduled lives, and their work is their life. There are no weekends. There are no holidays, right? One day just blends into the next. And then they kind of like live and die by their calendars, right? As far as like, what they're moving on to. And to them, it's just like one long sequence of stuff that they have to do. Meetings or deadlines or different pieces of guidance they got to give, things along those lines, right? So I'm sharing all of this with you because you, as the data scientist, the data science team, a data science leader, you have to figure out how you fit into all of that because you have to adjust to them. They're not going to adjust to you, right? So this is another reason why I emphasize communication. When I tell you guys, some of you ask me, well, what do I need to advance in my career? Well, you need communication, right? Because you have to be able to sum up your work in very short but very effective ways. Not just to managing directors, but really to a lot of people in your company, but especially to somebody like a managing director. Okay? You're never getting like a full hour meeting with a managing director, right? You're never going to be able to call, hey, I want to have the 1 hour data science meeting. Never happening. You're probably going to get like 10, maybe 15 minutes in front of in front of them, and you're going to be part of a greater meeting, right? Like you'll be the project deliverable meeting and you're like 10 minutes of that project deliverable meeting. For 10 minutes, for my teams, for the people that work for me, I cap them at 3 slides. If you're going to show me what you want to show during the meeting, you better not come to me with 12 slides because we're only getting 10 minutes. My experience shows that's about 3 slides, right? Here's the problem that was in front. Here's the problem that was in front of us. These are the ways we approached it. This is the best solution. And this is the time to implementation. We have a viable solution. I can implement it in 3 months because managing directors, I'm willing to bet my life on this. Their question to you is always, how soon can we push this out? You better be prepared with an answer for that. Every single managing director on the planet wants to ask you that, right? So you better walk in with those 4 things ready to go. And then as an optional 5th item, what do I tell you guys? Always walk in with further steps that you could be doing, right? So, good morning, sir. You asked us to solve this. These are the approaches we tried. We think we have a viable solution in this. I can push it out in 3 months. By the way, if you also give me another 6 months, I can get you here. And if you want to give me another 8 months and X more dollars, I can get you over here. That's it. That's your entire meeting. That's all you're getting in front of like a managing director, right? 10 minutes. So when you work on these things, when you work on your skills, when you work on your development, when you hear the math nerds and the code nerds talk about all this great stuff you got to show people, think about that. You got 10 minutes in front of a managing director who may or may not be data oriented, and they're almost always not really technical, right? You don't want to get too crazy into the technical stuff, right? And if you're lucky, you're under a good leader who's data oriented, like my friend, right? I mean, I really appreciate talking to him because he's a really data oriented guy. So unless that's what you have in front of you, I mean, unless those are the slides that you're delivering during that meeting, you are not being as effective as you could be as a data scientist, right? Because what good is your work if you can't explain it, right? What good is your work if you're a math nerd that can only talk in formulas? Like, you're worthless, right? I mean, this is why I kind of put so much of that emphasis on that communication, on what you're learning, on what you're taking on, right? Because you really have to be succinct. You have to be effective, not just for what you're delivering them, but also for your team, right? And then you also have to be personable, right? You can't be a math robot, guys. You can't be a code robot. Nobody shows up to those guys' meetings, right? Or you don't want the managing director to look at the agenda and see that you're third on the agenda. It's like, oh man, this guy again. Ugh, that's gonna be a boring 10 minutes. You don't want that, right? You want to be personable, right? You want to be, you want to be somebody who's open, who can talk to people. Hey, good morning. Hope everyone's having a good day. My name's Dennis. I'm the chief data scientist for the wealth management function. Here's what I'd like to show you. You got to have some personality, right? So again, I'm planting seeds for you guys so you guys can think about these things. Because working with managing directors is not easy. It's not for everyone, right? It's not for the math robots. It's not for the coding nerds, right? Those are the guys you maybe say, hey, you know what? Go ahead and sit this meeting out. I got this meeting. That's the guy you put on the bench for that morning, right? So think about this, guys. Okay? I want you to kind of think about it, okay? Yeah, I'm already seeing some comments in my in this about this topic, which is great, guys. I could talk about this topic all day, guys, because really, I mean, if I'm being honest with you guys, you guys ask me, how do I advance in my career? How do I become better? The type of stuff that I just covered separates the okay data scientist from the good data scientist. And if you can't master this, there will be a ceiling to how far you can advance in your career. So guys, I'm not just talking about getting a job. I'm talking about like 10 years from now. When some of you are talking like, hey, I've been a lead data scientist. I know what I'm doing. How do I get to be a chief data scientist? How do I advance? How do I get more teams? Or think about what I just told you. And let's say it's not a delivery meeting. Let's say now you're talking about project planning and you got to go in and you got to convince somebody that you need 3 more people on your staff next year. How do you sell that? Right? That's not easy. That's not for everybody. But it's the same fundamental skills, right? You're not getting anything more than 10 minutes out of these managing directors. Their schedule's full, right? So yeah. So guys, if you're joining late, please go ahead and introduce yourself. City, state, province, country. And otherwise, I'm going to start looking up here. So Mr. January 18th. Hello, sir. Let us know where you're from, 18. Kushi says hello. I guess I'm the first one here. Yes, but let us know where you're from, Kushi. Purcell says the spotlight's good one. Are you referring to my intro video? Let us know where you're from, Purcell. Rex, our good friend Rex. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all have a great week. This is Rex in New York City. Rex, really glad to have you here. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Ulrich says, I'm from Canada. Ulrich, you can't just say Canada. Canada's a big, beautiful country. You gotta let us know from where. I've done plenty of work in Canada. I can appreciate how big of a country it is. Good people from Canada. As a matter of fact, I have a friend from Canada visiting me today. He's getting into town today. We made plans to go out. So as you guys know, I live in Las Vegas, right? And I'm not much of a gambler, that's not really my thing. So really the only time I gamble is when he comes into town because he's a good friend. He loves gambling. So I'll go out with him, we usually play craps, sometimes we play poker or something else. But yeah, he's coming into town this week. So I'm going to get my craps, for the year really, or he comes like every 6 months. So I'll be playing craps for the only time in the next like 6 months, and then that's it, right? But looking forward to seeing him. So yeah, he's coming into town. But let us know what part of Canada you're from. Ezekiel, welcome. Glad to see you on X. I'm getting more engagement on X. But let us know where you're from, Ezekiel. Yassine, our good friend Yassine from Tangier, Morocco. How you doing, Yassine? Hope you're doing well. Yassine, you never told me if you live by the beach or not. Let me know if you live by the beach, or are you more inland in Tangier? Let me know. Darren says, hi, sir. Love from India. Thank you, Darren. You are a professor. Am I a professor? I don't know. I don't feel that way. I'm just a guy sitting at home talking into an iPhone, guys. That's really what I feel like, to be honest with you. I'm just sitting at home talking into an iPhone, just talking about the stuff I do and stuff I love. That's it. This is all passion driven, guys. Like this, I'm just passionate about data science. But if you guys view me as a professor, I appreciate that. But I'm just a guy sitting at home, talking into an iPhone, hanging out. I'm just hanging out, and then sometimes I get to talk on the phone with old friends. You know, like the experience I shared this weekend. That's just me. Fatima, our good friend from Meekness, says hello, sir. Hey, Fatima, how are you? Hope you're well. Osama says, hello, sir. Osama from Setat, a city between Casablanca and Marrakesh, Morocco. Very cool. Yeah, okay, I think I know where Setat is. I think you're closer to Casablanca than you are Marrakesh, right? Because I've driven that road between Casablanca and Marrakesh multiple times. But yeah, I think Setat is closer to Casablanca than it is Marrakesh, isn't it? Because I think I know Setat. I think I stopped for gas one time in Setat, if I remember right. But yeah, welcome. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here. Once again, guys, I'm huge in Morocco. Don't know why, but I'm popular in Morocco. No idea. Oh, that's funny. Hi, cutie. Well, hello to you too. Varsith. It doesn't even matter, my friend. I'm not exactly sure who you were replying to there, Rahul. Yeah, because I see screen names, not account names. Rex, I'm gonna come back to your question, okay? Yassine, sup? That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I love the connections that are forming in the chat and on Discord. By the way, if you don't know Discord, look in your chats. I've put the link there. We're having good stuff all day. Leo says, good morning, everyone. Hey, Leo, good to see you. Leo is once again claiming New York City, Morocco. That's hilarious. You're probably better off claiming like what? Like where would kava be from? You know, kava and that Mediterranean food, I guess, is like what? Like Greek or Pakistani or like even maybe Armenian. You're better off claiming like New York City Armenian, you know, with all those kava kebabs you're eating, right? So I don't know, Leo. I think you're closer to like the Middle East than you are Morocco. That's hilarious. Okay, Bisma Salim from Pakistan, Lahore. Nice. Welcome, Bisma. Leo says, let's hit the like button, folks. It's a way to support Dennis and boost the algorithm recommendation to more people. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, Leo has started to become my cheerleader because I said this on yesterday's stream. I'm not the kind of guy who's always like, hit the subscribe, hit the like. That's just not my style, you know? You know, like, I'm just trying to put out good content. And if you do that, everything works out, right? So I appreciate that, Leo. If anybody has any publicity questions, please direct them to my publicity director, Leo there. I'm Dave. Let us know where you're from. You know, if you want to learn about internships, first thing is you got to know how to introduce yourself properly, right? So let us know where you're from. Introduce yourself to the chat, please. Michael, our good friend Michael. Hello, Sir Dennis and everyone. Emeka, is it Emeka or Emeka? Let me know. From Lagos, Nigeria. Nice. Michael, I thought you were from Benin City. Did I get that wrong? I think I said Benin City yesterday, didn't I? Yeah, let me know. Hello, Dennis from Delhi, India. Nice, Garvin. Nice to see you again. Welcome back, my friend. Speaking of friends, Manoj from Bangalore, India. Welcome back, Manoj. Good to see you, my friend. Ezekiel says, I am from Nigeria. I'm so excited to be part of this training. I must say, indeed, you look like a lecturer. You think so? I guess. I mean, I invested in a good microphone, right? Because audio is important. But otherwise, you know, I'm just sharing what I love, guys. Just sharing what I love. Just passionate about this. I don't live by the beach, but I spend all my free time there. Yeah, okay, cool. I could see that. Yeah, you know, we stopped at this great burger place at the beach in Tangier. It was so delicious. It was so good. And the burgers were huge. I can't remember the name, but I remember that it was where it was on like the main beach drive, and the road splits into a Y. Like there's two roads that take off from the same road, and there's like a little shopping center right next there, and there's like a burger place there. Oh my god, it was so good. Some of the best hamburgers I've ever had was there in Tangier. So I'll look it up if I can find it, but you know, maybe you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, but the beach in Tangier is beautiful, guys, if you guys ever get a chance to go there. Dave says hi from Melbourne. Hey, Dave, how are you? Dave, I think you've been here before. I don't think it's your first time, but welcome. Either way, welcome. Glad you're here. I'm assuming it's kind of late in Melbourne, so thanks for being here. Leo says he's good at drama too. It's one of the many services I offer, Leo. See, you view it as drama. I view it as a service that I'm offering. Satish says, hey, I'm Satish from India. Welcome, Satish. Glad to see you here. Okay, so yes, it's Ameka. Okay, so thank you for that. Ameka. And it's also, I'm back in Lagos. I went to Benin City to finish some things up at my uni. Okay, very cool. Very good. Very cool, Ameka. Leo's start inventing new things over here. DAAS, drama as a service. There you go, Leo. That's it. Bisma, will there be a lecture today? Bisma, this is the lecture. Guys, not everything in life's a lecture. Sometimes you can just hang out, talk, have community with your data scientists. Talking things out in science, not just data science, but in science overall, super important part of the process, guys. You know, guys, this is exactly why I included an entire chapter on team dynamics in my book. If you guys are interested, if you want to support me, first year in data science, available on Amazon. The ebook version is affordable across the world. Being able to work within a team and collaborate and just talk things out. Hey, how do you see this problem? I see it this way. What do you think? No, I see it a little bit differently. What do you think of this? Oh, yeah, okay. Hey, I read about this new technique. Maybe we should think about this. Oh, you know, Pandas was updated, and these are the changes that I think are going to help. You got to talk things out. So Bisma, let's pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. Relax. Life's not a lecture. Working on projects in a corporate company is not a lecture. It's a collaboration. It's a discussion. It's ideas. It's collaboration, right? So life is not always a lecture. We can relax. We can have conversations, right? I try to vary up my streams. We have had quite a few instructionals in the past week or so. And I know that I've been putting a lot of questions to the side. So, you know, today is more of just like questions, just a way to start off the week, get the ball rolling, get your brain started, right? So everybody pump the brakes. Collaboration is part of science. Believe it or not, we're learning from each other right now. I guarantee it, okay? Joseph, good to see you again, Joseph. Good morning, Dennis, and everyone. Wishing everyone a great start to the week. Yeah, Joseph, thank you. Wish the same for you. So thank you for that greeting. Does DS stand for drama service? It does. That's exactly. DS has many meanings. Many meanings. It's a flexible word. Rahul says, Bisma, it's amazing relating data science. Yeah, Rahul, a lot of things relate to data science. So you got to just pump the brakes. Everybody take a deep breath. And I already skipped some questions in the chat because I see some already. I promised to get to them, but I want to make sure I welcome everybody, right? That's part of running a proper meeting. You got to welcome everybody, right? It's kind of rude to jump into a meeting, right? I'll tell you guys a funny story about this, about running meetings. And this is kind of something that I had to learn a little bit the hard way, guys, all right? So yeah, this story like really happened to me. I still can't believe this happened to me. So, and by the way, the people at IBM who did this, they know who they are, so I'm not going to mention names. But I was working for IBM, and I did a contract in Colombia. It was a 3-week contract. And on the second to last day, I had to give a presentation to all of the top guys. And it was for a petroleum company, a company named Ecopetrol. It's like the 3rd or 4th largest petroleum company in Colombia, which means that they're huge, right? So basically, I was supposed to give this meeting to talk about my results on what I had found the previous 3 weeks, right? And to IBM Colombia, this was like their top tier client. Like they were like a super VIP client. So they brought me in from the US. They picked me specifically because I spoke Spanish, and all this other stuff, right? So super important presentation. And when you do this, you work for IBM US, but you're actually there like working for IBM Colombia. So they give you like they give you representatives from IBM Colombia to work with. And then on top of that, it's like super unsafe to go there. So they also gave me like a personal driver and like all these other things. So it was kind of cool, but kind of scary at the same time. But anyways, so I had to give this presentation. It was a super important presentation for them. So they gave me 2 people to work with from IBM Colombia. And we worked on this presentation for like 4 days. Like I remember the presentation was like on a Thursday because I was leaving Saturday. So the presentation was on a Thursday. We started working on it Monday. And we worked late, we worked during lunch, like we would meet at the hotel and they would pay for like this massive breakfast so that we could work from breakfast. Like we would start early, like 7 a.m., like work through breakfast, like super important presentation. We worked on this for 4 days. And basically, it was me that was going to do the presentation. It wasn't IBM Colombia, it was me. So they were basically like, getting all the slides ready and I always work from outlines and I designed the slides and all this. And it was going perfectly well. Like I felt ready to go, it was enough preparation, everything. So we did the presentation at IBM, at the IBM offices in Colombia. And, I got the screens up, I got the computer going, like I'm feeling ready, like I'm locked in, right? Ready to go. 2 minutes before the presentation begins. And by the way, at this time, the room's already filled in, like people with some very serious, very nice suits are coming in. I remember this one guy in particular had these gorgeous, like diamond cufflinks, like serious people are attending this presentation, right? 2 minutes before I'm going on stage, like I'm literally taking my last sips of water, like I'm like ready to go. One of the employees from IBM Colombia, one of the ones that I've been working with, comes up to me and says, "Hey, by the way, in Colombia, it's very, very rude for you to just jump into the conversation. You gotta get up there and you gotta entertain the audience for a few minutes." And I was like, what the right? We've been working on this for 4 days and now you tell me 2 minutes before that I'm supposed to entertain the audience? Are you kidding me? Like at first I thought she was joking. Like I was like, is this like a Colombian version of a prank? Like, are you trying to prank me or something? And she was like, no, I'm being very, and this lady, she wasn't the type to joke around or anything, but she had been with IBM Colombia for a very long time. So she was like, no, I'm being very serious. Don't just jump into the materials. It's considered very rude. And I was like, well, what am I going to do? And she was just like, you'll figure it out. And I was like, what the heck? Like literally 2 minutes before the presentation that was told to me. And I was just so mad. We had spent like 4 days together working from like 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m. at night in the hotel. And they never even thought of telling me this. And I was just like, well, what am I going to do now? Right? So it was one of those, Rex, I appreciate your comment. I'm going to come back to it. It was one of those things where I just kind of had to think on my feet, and I had to do it. And fortunately, it was one of those things where, like, maybe God helped me or something from above helped me. And I remember that I made a joke about Shakira, and I also made a joke about Pablo Escobar. So that kind of helped. Fortunately they laughed. Thank God. I made a bad joke about them. But it's one of those things where, like, I had to learn that the hard way. In some countries, it's considered rude to do that, right? You got to have fun with the audience. You got to be personable. You got to introduce yourself, right? So, Bisma, I'm glad you asked that question. But, realize that sometimes you have to just kind of take a step back, read the room, right? Understand the situation, know your audience, and then get into it, right? And then slowly build up, right? You don't want to go 0 to 100 all the time. You want to build up, right? All right. All right, guys. So let me go back to the questions. Good opportunity to tell that story, though. I haven't told that story in a little bit. But I was so mad when they told me that. You should have seen my face, because I'm literally standing at the edge of the stage. Like, everything's 100% ready to go. Took my last drinks of water. Like, I'm ready to go. And she tells me that 2 minutes before. Oh my gosh, what a... Anyways. All right, so again, if you're joining us late, city, state, province, country, appreciate it. Rex says, can I stuff everything I want to say into 12 slides into those 3 slides? It'll be busy slides. Excuse me, but it will all be in there. No, I don't recommend that, Rex. So here's the part that I left out that I probably need to be more explicit about, okay? Just because the managing directors are busy, just because you're only going to have 10 minutes, just because you're only going to have 3 slides, doesn't mean that they won't be read or that you won't be paid attention to. Managing directors are very, very smart people, all of them. So they're still going to read your slides. They're still going to get what they need out of you, out of that meeting. It's 10 minutes, but to them, it's a very focused 10 minutes, right? So you still want to be very measured in what you're sharing during that time, even though it's a very brief time. Because they're not doing just 10 minutes just to, cycle through people. They're doing 10 minutes because they're going to pay attention to you 100% during those 10 minutes, right? So, no, I would still want to be brief and give them exactly what they need and what you and your team needs out of those 10 minutes. So, like, for example, we talked about, well, what if it isn't a delivery meeting? What if it's just like an update meeting or a planning meeting, right? And I've spoken about this before. I think I did an opening minute on this before, where one of my managing directors told me something that I use, and he would always say, look, when you're in front of me, give me something to react to, right? Managing directors kind of need that. They need you to say, here's where we're at. What do you think? And then let them guide you, right? Here's where we're at. We're stuck between options A, B, and C. What do you think, sir? Like, that's one of the most effective ways to deal with a managing director, right? So the key is not to just pump out information, 12 slides. The key is to say, hey, we think we're on the right track. We want to make sure we're synced up with you. What do you think? Because you're also kind of saying that in the previous example that I gave you, right? About the delivery, right? Here, we can get this in 3 months. What do you think? We can push, you give me the okay, and I can push this out in 3 months. Are you okay with that? Or would you like to wait another 4 months because I showed you what I can do with another 4 months and another X dollars? Do you want to do that instead? Right? Because that's really what you're doing. You're giving them things to react to. Right? So Rex, it's not about I worked on this project for the last 12 weeks and I want to give an update for every week. Or I want to do a slide for every week. That's not the point. The point is, what do you need out of it? What do they need out of it? And what guidance do you need to keep you on the right track? That's really kind of, that's the metagame, right? The metagame is what keeps your team going, right? That's really what you ultimately want. Right? Remember, guys, it's all about metagames, right? You're going to hear me refer to that, right? But when you break it down, everything in life is a metagame, right? So that's the metagame, right? Like, I can appreciate why you'd want to do 12 slides, but that's you meeting your needs, not the metagame needs, right? Rex says, I can talk really fast. I can appreciate what you're saying there, right? And I know your meaning is half in jest, right? But it's not about cramming information. It's about effective delivery, right? That's really what you want to do. Is it fast communication or is it effective communication? Huge difference. Huge difference. Bisma says confidence is very important. Sure, of course, but there's also a lot of personality to it, right? It's a lot of, like I said, it's a lot about reading the room. It's about knowing your audience, right? When somebody asks me to do a presentation, my first question is always, okay, who's the audience? Are we talking beginners? Are we talking advanced? Are we talking executives? Are we talking first-year analysts? Are we talking students? Size of the room? How many people? What's the theme of the conference? What's the theme of the presentation? Right? The more I do that, the more the confidence comes naturally. Because confidence is really about preparation. That's all it is, right? Confidence is not something you buy or you build up or you read about in a book. It's about preparation. So yeah, it's important, but it comes on its own. You don't study that, right? Oh, okay. I'm Dave. Okay, I'm Dave. I see your question on Instagram. Okay, and I asked. Okay, let me get to your question there, Amde, because I see you introduced yourself on YouTube. Dave says, any advice for someone to get their first data science internship, even someone who is making the project, and how to connect with them? Are you making the projects, or somebody who's doing a project? Help me understand that. Like, are you saying you have your own projects, or you're trying to connect with somebody who has an existing project? Let me know, Dave. Not fully sure I understand your question there, please. Rex is referring to my situation in Colombia. I would have melted. I have zero charisma and entertaining genes in me. Yeah. It's not easy. Yeah. So coming back to Bisma's question about the confidence, right? So that situation was tough because it destroyed my confidence, right? Prior to that moment, I was confident, because think about the way I was describing it, right? We worked for 4 days. I had organized my slides. I had my outlines. The computer was working. The slides were up on the screen, right? The projector was good. That's confidence, right? Like, hey, I'm set up for perfection here, right? That's confidence. But then, yeah, I mean, as Rex says, your charisma is kind of tested. Your entertainer skills are tested 2 minutes before the presentation starts. That's not confidence, right? So it's all about preparation, guys. It's all about preparation. Yeah. Rahul says the creation of drama servers was a necessity. Yes, but I did not create the drama in that situation, right? Let the record show that I was not the creator of the drama in that situation. Like I said, I don't want to call out those people. They know who they are. But yeah, my contacts at IBM Columbia in that situation really let me down, because I was like, really? We've been working on this 12 hours a day for the last 4 days, and you couldn't tell me that then? Like, really? Like, come on. But yeah, I was not the drama creator. Hey, Emo Giraffe, welcome. And Rex, thank you for doing the hosting duties over on Twitch. Thank you so much. Emo Giraffe says, I'm connecting from Egypt. Wonderful, wonderful. Love my North African followers. Thank you so much, Emo Giraffe. Thanks for being here. Osama says, is business knowledge essential for success in a data science career? Rahul says, it does help, but not necessary. Okay, so let's talk about this. It's maybe not essential to start off, but it will cap your career. The more you learn about business as you grow in your career, the better you will advance. Right? Because as I've said before, guys, they're not hiring you to solve math problems. They're hiring you to solve business problems. What is the impact you can have on the business? So if you don't understand the business, you're only going to get so far with that, right? So that's really how I would answer that. Is it essential to start in data science? No. Is it essential for success in data science? Yes. So Osama, I really appreciate the question. I really appreciate that that's where your thought process is going. That's excellent. But yeah, I mean, you're going to want to build it up to have success over the long term. Because again, no one's paying you for the math. They're paying you for the business impact. And how can you help the business impact if you don't understand the business? Right? Initially, you'll be okay because you'll have other, senior data scientists and all that leading you, kind of telling you what to do. But you're not always going to want to be a junior, right? You're not always going to want to be a level 1 data scientist. You're going to have to start designing your own projects, your own business impact. Things that you can own and say, hey, I wrote that algorithm and it saved the company X dollars. You can't do that unless you understand the business side of the company, right? Great question, though, Osama. I love where your thinking's going. Great question. Mafood, our good friend Mafood is back. Mafood says, I'm working with Gene, the guy I met on your Discord server. We're collaborating on our master's project. It's going very well. Oh, man, that's awesome. That's awesome, guys. Mafood, really great to hear that, man. Guys, I've said this before. There is nothing I love more than the community helping the community, right? So Mafood, that is awesome, man. I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, guys, join the Discord. You never know who you're going to meet. You might make a connection like Mafood there. It's a good way to keep the conversation going. Maybe the live stream isn't always convenient for you to join, right? Man, that really made my day. Thanks a lot for that, Mafood. Yeah, so you're collaborating on a master's project. That's awesome, man. Let us know more about it here in the Discord or whatever you want to do. I better get a credit in your acknowledgement. But yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Great update. Really appreciate you sharing that update. Wow. People are meeting on the Discord and collaborating on master's projects. That is fucking cool, guys. That is cool. That is really cool. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot for that. You really made my day. You really made my day. That is pretty cool. I like seeing that, you know? I love making those connections. I love seeing the community build each other up. Good job, guys. Illegal deaths. Thank you so much. Rex, doing wonderful hosting duties over there on Twitch. Oh, it's Rahul. Rahul, you have so many different names, man, and they're so different. Jeez. Are you undercover or something? Are you on the run? I thought you might feel lonely. I am drunk, so I hop from here to there. Oh my gosh. I thought you used Instagram when you were drunk or something. Did you get banned on Instagram? That's hilarious. That's hilarious, guys. Oh man. So guys, you know, this is a perfect stream if you guys want to ask questions or, you know, different things you want to talk about. You know, would love to hear more from you guys. Mafood, if you want to share what your master's project is on, you know, or maybe it's top secret, who knows? You know, don't want to, you know, blow your embargo, your NDAs or whatever. But, you know, would always like to hear about what people are working on, or really any other questions you guys might have. You know, I'm here for you guys. You know, but while we have a few minutes, I did want to thank everybody who joined the stream yesterday. We had a very interesting stream on working with Python and Julia. I think some people will never, ever, ever want to take a look at Julia after what we went through yesterday. They're just, you know, it did not go easy as far as getting Julia up and running with a neural network. So if you want to check out that stream, feel free to do that. I'll be posting the video version of that stream soon. But it was a really interesting, and you just got to do that experimentation. You know, you gotta keep on working on experimentation. Yeah. Yeah, Rahul says I cooked chicken for Julia. Yeah, that's right. Rahul was cooking and learning Julia at the same time. That was hilarious. But Julia said no. You know what? I think a lot of people said no to Julia. I mean, some people were just completely turned off for using Julia again, and I kind of get it, guys. I mean, we went through a lot just to get the neural network going, and guess what? It sits on top of Python anyways, right? So, oh, that and also the metrics kind of stunk, right? The metrics weren't great, so yeah, crazy, right? So Mafood says, of course, I already sent you some of my friends your streams. They're from Algeria also. We're still on our research phase looking into AI for DevOps. Okay. So using AI for traditional DevOps. Pretty cool. So I wish you guys nothing but the best with a project like that. You know, and when your white paper's out, I would love to read it. Or if you need some advice or something, please let me know. But yeah, Algeria. I'm telling you guys, North Africa, everything above like, oh, I guess I don't know what the official line for North Africa would be. I guess it would be the equator, right? And the equator runs through where? Through Sudan? Is that where the equator is? I think. But yeah, but North Africa. Mafood says it's the Maghreb. Okay, yeah, you're right. I have heard that term. Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's the dividing line, but you know, lots of North African supporters. Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, and I guess Egypt. Yeah, definitely. That's the region I'm referring to, but I know there's some countries a little bit to the south of that, right? Like like I know at one time I was looking at making a road trip from Morocco to Dakar, right? That's a road trip you can do, right? And I think a place like Dakar would still be considered Northern Africa, wouldn't it? I think that's right. You guys can tell me, right? Akash, let us know where you're from, okay? We always ask people to introduce themselves. Hi, I'm Abdelaziz. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Let me know if I'm not. Abdelaziz, welcome. I know it's not your first time. I haven't been able to pronounce your name because I see it in Arabic on my screen, but welcome. From Sudan, I want to ask you about applying data science for life like a model when choosing friends. Nice. Nice. I love it. I love the question, but I think that there's multiple ways to answer this. So I'm trying to think about the best, like most succinct way to talk about, because I could talk about this a while. Well, I'll start with one way and then I think I'm gonna have a second way. So I don't know about you guys, but one of the reasons why I'm fascinated by neural networks is because the whole point of neural networks is that it mimics the way your brain works, right? You know, you have different nodes in your brain and they're connected, and some nodes fire, some don't, you know, all that, right? And if you understand that, then you understand how repetitive functions train your nodes, right? And train your brain. So I like that approach, understanding how that works in data science, but then understanding how it works in your life. So for me, I see it in a variety of different ways, but I see it like when you're learning a new game, or like a new, like let's talk about a game like poker, right? I do like playing poker. And to me, I think of poker as like the ultimate algorithm, because in poker, you learn about, hey, I did that before and it kind of went okay. Let me do it again. Oh, wait a minute. This time it didn't go so well. What did I learn? Right? And that's kind of like what a neural network does, right? So to me, when I apply things in my life, it's more about what is the, like, you know, not to get all existential and weird, but what is learning, right? That's really like what you're asking, like, what is learning? How do we learn, right? And if you think about it and you think about it in your life, then you can say, oh, wow, all of a sudden I understand neural networks. Like, I understand why we need so many inputs and layers and epochs and why we need to retrain algorithms down the road. Like learning, like understanding learning to me is really what you want to do in life, right? Abdulaziz, when you ask that question, that's really kind of what comes to my mind, right? Like, what are you applying? You're applying like the philosophical way of learning. Again, with poker, right? Oh, that person did that previously, but now they're doing something different. So what does that mean? Right? You're training your algorithm when you do that, right? Your nodes are being trained, right? Like you're understanding people's habits, people's approaches, right? And keep in mind that this is different than what you're going to find in other things. Because you know how like they say, like, you tell a small child to not touch a hot stove, but eventually the child touches it and then they'll never touch it again, right? See, to me, that's not learning, that's memory. Or negative reinforcement, right? That's not an algorithm being trained, right? But other things in your life are definitely about an algorithm being trained. And then I also want to tie it to what you're saying about like choosing friends, right? So this is where neural networks kind of come back, or even algorithms in general. Why do you choose algorithms? Like, why do we want to use algorithms? Well, because algorithms are disciplined, right? Algorithms are consistent. Algorithms don't have feelings. They don't have judgment. They're not real, right? They're math formulas. That's why you want to use algorithms, because you take that human judgment out of it. The lack of human discipline, the impulse control out of it, right? Because, I mean, look, we've all been in that situation. You choose a bad friend, right? You see a friend who's not so great, but you still go out with them. Maybe you haven't chosen the best life partners in the past, right? That life partner you can't say no to, or, different things like that. That's the human side of your algorithm, right? That's the undisciplined human side of your algorithm. Maybe you got in trouble because of a friend, right? A friend put you in a bad situation or whatever, right? But you knew ahead of time, right? You knew, like, hey, this person ain't so great, right? But again, that's your discipline, your impulse control, your need for companionship or whatever, right? So coming back to your question, and again, why we use algorithms overall, you do it because it doesn't care. It has no emotions. It has no feelings. It'll just give you the same consistent answer day after day after day after day, right? So that's kind of why you want to use algorithms, because they take that variance, that high variance in some cases that comes with judgment, emotions, impulse control, feelings, all that stuff, right? So I love the question, and that's how I would encourage you to think about it. It's really about learning. And then you take it about discipline, about humans. Humans learn. That doesn't mean they actually do things, right? We all know not to drink and drive, but people still drink and drive, right? I remember that there's this great passage by Nassim Taleb. If you don't know his books, you should. He talks about Nassim Taleb. I think this was in Fooled by Randomness. He talked about how, even though we know the data, even though we know the work, humans can still be dumb, right? And he gave the example about, for those of you that don't know, here in the U.S., there's a massive hospital, a massive research center that specializes in cancer. They're the number one globally recognized leader in cancer treatment and research. Huge hospital, does nothing but cancer research. But unfortunately, they do have people there who die, and not all cancer treatment goes well, right? So, but it's this massive hospital dedicated to nothing but cancer, has some of the top cancer doctors working there. It's called Sloan Kettering. And he talks about how, even though it's this massive hospital with the world's smartest researchers, if you go around the back, you'll still find nurses back there smoking, right? Like, even the top cancer experts still smoke, right? I mean, that's just the human nature of it. Top cancer hospital in the world, they've seen every cancer death possible, and the doctors and nurses are back there smoking. Like, that's humans, right? They have all the data in the world, all the expertise in the world, and there's impulse control in smoking, right? So great question, Abdelaziz. Great question. Love the question. I love when data science can get like all existential like that, right? But I love talking about this. Rahul says, I hope a lot for Julia, but she let me down. Rahul, I think we all had hopes for Julia. You set somebody up for success and they just let you down, man. Julia let us down. Mafood says, for sure, appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate you too, Mafood. I love that you guys are making those connections in the community. Man, you really made my day with that. I really appreciate you. Akash, let us know where you're from, please. Divi, let us know where you're from, please. Let me stay on topic here. I'm going to come back to some of these questions. But Mafood says yes, especially habit building. Yeah, absolutely, Mafood. Yeah. We can have all the reasons in the world to have a good habit, but we don't, right? But an algorithm doesn't care, right? An algorithm doesn't use judgment on what to do or not. The algorithm says, the activation function told me to do this, I'm going to do this. Right? But yeah, when it comes to habit building, humans are not always great, right? I can see the book, My Friend is an Algorithm. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. I love it, Leo. I think human relations should be operated by trial and error, using the output from one system to improve your personal algorithm. Yeah, Leo, but one, you're going to go through a lot of pain and maybe a lot of money to get there. And two, like I said, who's to say you're going to do the right thing when the opportunity comes? Right? Like, what if your personal algorithm says no, but other things in you say yes? Can you stick with the no? Some people can, a lot of people can't, right? Okay, let me go back. Let me go back to some of these. I think we're gonna leave that topic for now. Let me see where I want to go next. All right, guys. So Yassine is asking, are there any plans for the second part of our previous stream on gold data? And apparently Rahul is also my agent now. So my scheduling agent, Yassine, has answered to you and says, yes, there will be a second stream, I know. Well, apparently Rahul manages my schedule from now on, guys. So any further questions on future streams, please direct them to Rahul. Any publicity and public relation questions, please relate them to Leo. You guys are taking care of me. All of you guys are volunteering for all of these positions. Thank you so much, guys. So nice of you. Yeah, so if you guys don't know what Yassine's referring to, was it Thursday or Friday? I can't even remember, guys. Last week we had a fantastic research discussion on taking a report and making projects out of it. And we did that with some gold data that's available online. And that was a really fun stream. You know, a lot of people in the chat were coming up with really good research ideas. I hope some of you really move forward with those because you had some really good ideas. And it's the stuff I tell you guys about, you know, do the research, get the data, ask questions, and turn those questions into research. And you guys were doing that. So, you know, thumbs up to that. So Yassine, absolutely yes. We're going to have a second part. It's going to be sometime this week. I'm going to look back. I can't remember if I did it Thursday or Friday, but I'm going to do it whatever a week from then was. Okay. I already have it in my mind. I didn't get to it last week. So yeah, we're absolutely going to do it. We're going to do it this week. Okay. Thursday, Friday, you know, whenever it was. You know, please consult my secretary, Rahul. But yeah, absolutely. It was a really fun stream. I had such a good time on that stream with you guys. So if you didn't attend last week, the replay is available on YouTube. Or come this week, you know, I'm gonna try to do a quick review and I'm gonna show you some new stuff. And yeah, you know, I am doing my best to try to enable you guys to say, hey, I'm telling you what you need to do to get into the industry, to build up your portfolio, to advance in the industry. But I'm also going to enable you to actually do it with some of these sessions. And I also do it because a lot of you, number one question I get from all of you is, give me a project idea. I need a project idea. What can I add to my portfolio? Sessions like that gold data is where good project ideas begin. All right. So if you're lacking project ideas, come to those sessions, because that's where I teach that. Because I don't like to give project ideas outright. That's not right. That's not data science. That's not me helping you in the best way I can. But I am going to have those sessions to enable you guys to, learn a little bit in that way, right? But thanks for the question, Yassine. I'm glad you enjoyed the session. I certainly had a good time. But we're going to do it again sometime this week. So, and I'll announce it in the Discord. You guys know that. But yeah. So guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate all of you. Really fun questions today. Just, really glad the community is building up. Mafood, you really made my day with saying that you found a connection in the Discord. That's really awesome. You really made my day. Thank you so much for that. All right, guys. So please, lots of craziness happening in the world right now. Who knows what the future holds for us? And I know that you are all over the world. So I hope that you take care of yourselves and you take care of your families. And I'll see you next time.